WDHA has a long history with the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Each school year, we run a Students Change Hunger program, and we're happy to welcome this morning to the Jersey Magazine, Brad Preston. He's the Director of Community Impact and Innovation for the Community Food Bank. Brad, good morning and welcome to the Jersey Magazine.
Good morning, Jim. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
There's a message on your website when you go to the cfbnj.org page. When school ends, hunger begins. Tell our listeners about that.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure anybody, people who have kids or grandkids or a babysat can identify. But when kids are out of school in the summer, so many children in New Jersey receive breakfast and lunch at school throughout the school year. So when they're home, all of a sudden parents and families are responsible for then figuring out, hey, if they were getting breakfast and lunch at school all year, now they're only getting it home. And then not to mention, it's not just the 3 meals a day, but kids are snacking, they're bored, they go to the fridge, morning, night. And, how many bowls of cereal? It's 3 o'clock, and so the food goes a lot quicker in the summer for families.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question about it. Having 3 kids who came up through elementary school and high school and what have you, I can tell you in the summertime, there's a lot of food that goes through the house. How different is it at the Community Food Bank in the summer months as compared to the rest of the year, Brad?
It's different in a few ways. There's that added pressure where more families are visiting our partner food pantries and other programs. Some of the volunteer groups slow down in the summer because people are on vacation. We rely on volunteers both at the food bank in one of our distribution centers, as well as at offsite events. And that's just as important in the summer. So it could be a school group that comes every month during the year, or a corporation that comes during the year, and we need that through the summer just as much, if not more. And so that's another way we can use the help through the summer, I guess the best way to say it.
How much does the number of food insecure families in our area rise during the summer months?
Oh, wow, it goes up. I mean, if you look at the fact that 175,000 children in New Jersey don't have access to regular, nutritious, healthy meals throughout the week, and if you think about how many families they have, so all 175 children are not in school in the summer, and that number rises proportionally.
And we've talked about this many times when we've had someone from the Community Food Bank on with us, that, we live in an area that's very affluent. Some of the wealthiest counties in the entire country are located within the sound of WDHA. So you kind of get lost sometimes thinking, well, it's not in my neighborhood, when in fact it is in your neighborhood.
You do. That's a great point, Jim. I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's in every town, it's in every school district. It may not be as visible in every town and every school district, but in some ways, people who are in more affluent areas can have a harder time accessing services because it's not something that's commonly talked about. There are some local governments that or local communities that like to think, oh, well, we don't have that problem here. And so it can be a bigger challenge, or maybe a bigger stigma for a family that does run into that harder time, or that rough patch where, the hours dip at work, you get laid off, or the hours get cut back, or you take on unexpected medical expenses, or, more family staying with you, whatever the reason is. Sometimes there's that greater feeling of shame where people don't want to reach out, or their resources aren't necessarily as widely known in some of the more affluent areas.
Brad Preston is the Director of Community Impact and Innovation for the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. He's joining us this morning here on the Jersey Magazine. Brad, for families that are food insecure at this time of year, where are some of the places that they can go for food?
So we have a really helpful resource on our website, which is cfbnj.org. Those are letters that spell out Community Food Bank of New Jersey. So cfbnj.org. We have a Find Food tab, and at Find Food, a family member can load in their zip code and see which, it pulls up any of the local food pantries or other partners of ours. So if you type in your zip code, it could show you the nearest 5 or 6 or 8 food pantries where there's free food available. You can give them a call, find out, what are their days and hours that they're open. And most of our partners tell us, even if we're open, every Wednesday, often if somebody calls in between and says, geez, we're totally out of food and I don't know if I can wait till Wednesday, a lot of our partners are willing to say, well, let me try to meet you sooner and get you some food to tide you over and that kind of thing.
In years past, during Students Change Hunger Week, we've had the opportunity to broadcast live from the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, and it's incredible to watch the operation. How much different is it during the summer months as compared to when we've done those live broadcasts, Brad?
Wow, yeah, I mean, it's one of the things, compared to other jobs, I've told people working for the food bank, there is no off season. Hunger doesn't let up. It rises in the summer. So it's just as busy, but in some cases there's more pressure where, it's not just with the food bank, but our local partners, they rely on volunteers just as well, whether it's a local church pantry or a nonprofit in town. They rely on volunteers as well. And sometimes those volunteers just aren't around in the summer. Like I mentioned before, there could be sports teams from a high school that help out, and then maybe they're not available in the summer. So it's like the need is there, the need goes up, and the resources aren't always there to help get the food out as much. And that's where we're so happy to talk to people like you to get the word out that we could use more assistance.
What is your background, Brad? How did you end up at the Community Food Bank of New Jersey? What led you there?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. So I was practicing law for several years and got involved with a legal aid organization and just saw how much the nonprofit industry really impacted people's lives. And I guess I felt like a cliche where I was more excited about the things I was doing on the evening and the weekend than I was every day during the week, and was inspired by the fact that, the executive director at that organization had a law degree, but he was really making such a big difference in people's lives and helping families connect to resources. And so that led me to move over into the nonprofit sector. And then I ran a program for children where I saw how much the impact of hunger really had on kids, where if it was sports practice or academics, if they weren't eating regular meals, it was just so hard for them to focus on, the task at hand. And I saw that the kids were hungry, would often fall behind in other activities. And so that led me to, the anti-hunger world. And so prior to coming here, I spent a couple of years with Hunger Free New Jersey and the New Jersey Pandemic Relief Fund. And through that, made some great relationships with some of the local pantries, and just wanted to continue with this work.
We're speaking with Brad Preston this morning from the Community Food Bank of New Jersey here on the Jersey Magazine. You've mentioned volunteer a couple of times in our conversation today, Brad. Where are some places that DHA and WMTR listeners can volunteer? How can they get involved?
Sure. So we have volunteers who come in regularly, both weekdays and weekends, at our main distribution center in Hillside, New Jersey, right next to Newark. And so at Hillside, that's our Union County headquarters. And then we also have a South Jersey location. Even if you have listeners who are in North Jersey during the year and down in South Jersey or at the shore for part of the summer, we have another distribution center in Egg Harbor Township in Atlantic County, just inland from Atlantic City. So we rely on volunteers at both distribution centers. And then we have offsite events, whether it's mobile food pantry distributions in different counties or communities across the state, and other events out and about in the community. But for all that, people can visit, again, our website, which is cfbnj.org, and go to the volunteer tab. And you can actually sign up online and look at what are the different upcoming volunteer events. So if geez, I'm free on Fridays for the next couple of months, let me see what's available on Friday. You can see the date, the time, and go right there and sign up.
I know that you are able to stretch a dollar better than just about any other organization that I've ever seen. I'm telling you, it's amazing to watch. How are some of the ways that our listeners can donate?
Sure. So, and just to kind of highlight what you mentioned, every dollar that people donate to us provides 3 meals. It doesn't really make a lot of sense when you first think about, like, where can you go and spend $1 and get 3 meals? But, the purchasing power we have when we're spending the money that we spend, a lot of our money is donated and comes from, a lot of our food is donated and comes from government programs, but we also purchase food as well. And with the purchasing power we have, the bang for our buck, again, every dollar gets us 3 meals, but people can also donate at our website at cfbnj.org, and they make it real obvious where to donate there.
And I mentioned this a little bit earlier in our conversation, but watching the way the interaction works at the Community Food Bank is amazing. We usually get there when we do our broadcasts. We're there very early in the morning, so things are just starting to get rolling. And then by 8:30, 9 o'clock, it is bustling. It's really amazing to watch, Brad.
Thanks. No, I appreciate that. And I tell people things start early and they don't really slow down, where we have trucks going out 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. they're trying to get ahead of the traffic. A lot of our food pantry partners have morning distribution. So, like you said, it's just exciting to see each part of it where the pallets of food get onto the truck gets out to a local partner. There are volunteers there waiting to meet the local partner. Some people do that before they go to work in the morning. They know Thursdays the food bank truck comes. We help unload at our local pantry, and there may be a line of 100 people or more waiting for those food pallets as they come off the truck at a local food pantry partner.
So again, as the website says, when school ends, hunger begins. And if you want more information on the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, the website again is cfbnj.org. Brad Preston, the Director of Community Impact and Innovation for the Community Food Bank, thank you so much for joining us this morning here on the Jersey Magazine. Continued success.
Thanks so much, Jim. We really appreciate helping get the word out. And if I could just mention one last time, you kind of touch on most of them, but we invite all your listeners to give their money, give their time, give food. They can host a food drive at work or in their community at the birthday, or give your voice and help us advocate. So really appreciate having us on.